Today is Monday, February 24th, 2025, and this is the most current Miles's Monthly Monday Memo. A couple things are different today. I hope you're doing well. I'm great. I'm really good. I'm in my new space. And this is my true face. New space and true face. I'm going on camera for monthly memos, and I will show you what the space is like as I move into it over the course of March. My base of knowledge is games. It's my hobby, it's my business. I play games, I read books about games, I produce games for TV, I watch foreign language game shows online, and I'm always thinking about games. And as a result, I know a lot of different kinds of games. And my special ability is I can recommend the game that's going to be the right fit for your group. Today, the game I'm going to talk to you about is not one of the ones that I will recommend to your group, almost certainly. I'm also not rolling a die today. I'm just going to tell you a story. It's the story of the Bay Area Pun-Off. Last year in the fall, I went to the Pun-Off in San Francisco, and to turn the clock back even more, I went to the Pun-Off in 2018, 2019, I think 20, and I competed, and we'll get into what is a pun-off and what does the competition look like. But I didn't win. It's an elimination game with one final player left standing. And though that wasn't me, I did win Best Pun of the Night and was celebrated. And I made it my resolution that I was going to go back and I was going to win. I was going to take first place. And then one thing and another happened, and 5 years went by. And I went to the Pun-Off in the fall last year, the 66th Bay Area Pun-Off, which is the brainchild of Jordan. Bay Area Pun-Off, which is the brainchild of Jordan and his buddy Brady. The two of them put on a great program. I was one of the competitors in the fall, and I did what I set out to do. I took home the bag. I won first prize. I won the 66th Bay Area Pun-Off. You have only my word for that because nobody took any photos that night, and I didn't have any friends or family in the audience, but I did prevail. And maybe I'll give you the blow-by-blow of how that went. But what happened next is I think I actually emailed and asked for photos from the event, and they said, we don't have any, but there's going to be another Pun-Off. It's going to be in San Francisco. It's going to be in the winter, and it's part of Sketchfest. Would you like to compete? Now, if you don't know what Sketchfest is, it's a pretty big deal in the comedy world. It happens in San Francisco every year, and there are a lot of comedy podcasts that go there. The Greatest Generation is my favorite Star Trek podcast, and they show up there. But it's like basically, it's where like Paul F. Tompkins like sleeps and gets his mail. It's that kind of location, and I know that I saw. I suffice it to say, it's a big deal. There are shows, sketch shows, improv shows, stand-up shows, reunions, musical performances, big name stars, the kids in the hall. David Zucker, my former boss, I'll tell that story another time. He was there with a celebration of Airplane, perfect year for it, and especially because David's become a right-wing crank. And I was like, yes, compete in the Pun-Off anytime, anywhere. And I'd never been to the Sketchfest before. I've heard about it, but I'd never attended as an audience member. And so my first time going was as an artist. They gave me this artist badge with a super cool logo. And so this is what the Pun-Off is like. It's an elimination game, and it's a little bit like a spelling bee. The competitors, first, the hosts give the audience a really great breakdown on what they're about to see. It's like a 10-minute piece of shtick that they've really fine-tuned, but it's more than just shtick. It's illuminating, and it tells you what is and isn't a pun, what's going to get players penalized, and they do a great job of setting up the audience. They say, You came to a wordplay competition on purpose. There's a lot of other things at Sketchfest that are happening, and I'm repeating their bits. I want to give attribution. And they said what I heard them say at all the pun-offs I've been to before. These puns, they don't have to be funny. Probably they won't be funny. They only have to be puns. There has to be wordplay. There has to be a double meaning. You can't just use the word that means what it means. Two meanings are required. And you've got to pun with the entire word, not just bits of it. Or you can leave off bits of it, but you might have to pun with most of the word. And so, like a spelling bee, players step up to the mic one at a time. It's like a competition, stand-up comedy and spelling bee. So a topic is announced. And even before that, we had 7 competitors, some previous pun-off winners, including me, some comics who were part of Sketchfest who participated, and one lucky audience volunteer whose name was picked at random and who did not survive the first round of play. He definitely brought he brought a rational number to a pie fight. The first topic was summer camp. And one at a time, the players, the pun slinger steps up to the mic, and you have, I think, 30 seconds to pun once you begin, and you can't delay very much. And you can simply set up your pun and say, you can just deliver it. Oh, I went overnight camping more than once. It was intense. Then... Or you could do what I do, which is set up a big long story and tell it that way. So here's one from the summer camp round. I said, 2 of my favorite pieces of fiction, or two characters I think about a lot, are from The King and I, the musical about the ruler of a country formerly known as Siam, and though based on a historical character represented in that musical, fictional. And then, Diana, Princess of Wales, the People's Princess, another monarch from a different part of the world, a real person. I was like, I wonder what would have happened if they would have exchanged places. Would we then have a tie-dye? That was a summer camp pun. Now, I know that you're about to click dislike on this video. Please don't. It's what they asked me to do. I was invited to pun. I was on the schedule. They put my name on a badge. So I'm really not to blame. It's a timed round, and after a certain amount of time, 2 players are eliminated. How do the eliminations work? Well, if you couldn't pun, if your pun was deemed not a pun, if you couldn't come up with an idea, if you repeated something that was already said, you earned a penalty. And in this case, they handed you a banana. At the end of the round, the player with the most bananas was eliminated. But the new rule that they added this time was that if by popular acclamation, the audience liked your pun a lot, which did happen, they would give you a plush stuffy. And a stuffy could cancel out a banana. Most of the eliminations hinged on stuffies. Not a ton of bananas went out. With 8 players at the start, after 8 minutes of punning on summer camp, one after the other in a line, so when your sequence was up, you had to step forward and pun, 2 players were eliminated, leaving us with 6. Then we took a break. We also broke those 6 players into 2 groups of 3. So a group of 3 came up, and they had a new topic to pun on. Same rules, only now the gap for you to gather your thoughts and plan your next pun is a lot shorter, with only 2 people between every pun you have to deliver. And in that round, my group punned on a wonderful topic. It was biology. And in this round, I gave myself an extra assignment because I am built that way. With each pun that I stepped up to the mic and deliver, I gave myself a catchphrase to curry favor and become an audience favorite. So every time I stepped up, I said, "Say there." And then I would deliver my pun in the style of an ad. So for biology, I said, "Say there. Do you want to have good-looking children? Well, buy our denim pants. Good-looking children. It's all in the genes." So with each pun I did an ad, and each ad I did started with my catchphrase, "Say there." And it got to the point where the audience was like ribbing each other and being like, "Say there," like before I got up to the mic. And I was like, hey, let me cook. I'm a professional here. And after one or two more say theirs after that, because the round was like, I don't know, 12 minutes, the laughs died out. And rather than sort of do the Family Guy thing and keep doing say there until it went round the horn and became funny again, instead I was like, I acknowledged it. And I said, the bloom's off the rose, huh? New toys broken? And that got a laugh. And to my surprise, as the round was nearing its end, I realized that one of my competitors had 3 stuffies and no bananas, and I had 2 stuffies and no bananas. The game was fair and square. My competitor with 3 stuffies had a lot of friends and family in the audience, and I again had none. I think I'm just running with the wrong circles. When I come back, will you please show up and cheer for me so I can get stuffies? So I didn't make it to the final round, but the winner of the group of 3 faced off against the winner from the other group of 3 in a final sudden death, or what the audience longed for, certain death. A final pun-off round that lasted a certain number of minutes. And the comic who won is by far the person who said the most vulgar things backstage. He drove me from the green room. Like, I think because of the circles that I travel, and I know that the world of comics is very rough and tumble, and it's very funny to say very edgy things, but I really, and I'm not sensitive, I fled that green room. And he also, he did earn 1 banana in the final round, and then he did a great piece of shtick with it where he opened it, he peeled it, and he ate it in like 1 bite. That was very funny, and then he held onto the peel. And he was leaving the country. He was like, I'm getting on a boat and I'm getting out of here for reasons you can probably imagine. And he was like, this is a nice thing to take with me as I left. And the next day, I moved my dad into assisted care over his objections. So it's really been a time around here. But when you're being creative and when you're surrounding yourself with people who share a value, perhaps not every value, but the value of like, hey, it's fun to be witty and wordplay is actually entertaining. You know, it's good enough for Shakespeare. That kind of thing is a very good medicine. Broadly speaking, games and gameplay, they give me the vitamins that I need, and I know that that's true for a lot of people. So I'm sharing this with you to tell you something of my experience, and let this be the first very one-sided part of a conversation about playing games together. I know a lot of things, and I bet you do too. So let's put our heads together and come up with a game that's going to be the fit you're looking for. I'm Miles, I'm the head honcho, and thanks for joining me for this on-camera memo.